Bugun darsimizda siz bilan Cambridge 10, Test 4 va Past 3 analizini ko'rib chiqamiz va o'zingiz ko'rganingizdek birinchi qismda bu bizdan nima kutilayotganiga, qanaqa tekstni o'qish kutilayotganligini tushunish maqsadida birinchi navbatda tahlilga qarab olamiz va when evolution runs backwards, demak evolyutsiya orqaga qarab yugurganda, demak bu qismda evolyutsiya haqida va biologiya haqida tekstni o'qishga harakat qilar ekanmiz. Undan keyin esa savol turlarini ko'rib olishimiz kerak va bu qismda choose the correct letter ABCD, demak multiple choice savollari berilgan. Undan keyin esa bizda matching information savollari berilgan va oxirgi qismda yes no degan savollar berilgan va xo'p, bu savollarga javoblarni topish uchun xo'p, demak har bitta qismni o'qishimiz kerak bo'ladi, majburiy, chunki men bu qismda matching savollarni 5 ta savolga javob berish uchun bu xohlagan tekstning qolgan qismida kelishi mumkin va bilmaymiz biz qaysi qismda keladi. Shuning uchun ham o'zimizni risk qilmasdan, vaqtimizni risk qilmasdan hamma narsani o'qigan holda keyin javob bergan yaxshiroq. Xo'p, demak men tekstni ikkiga bo'lib olaman, undan keyin esa yarim-yarimdan keyin birgalikda javoblarni tekshirishga harakat qilamiz. Xo'p, keyin endi boshlaymiz. The description of any animal as an evolutionary throwback is controversial. For the better part of the century, most biologists have been reluctant to use those words, mindful of a principle of evolution, that is, evolution cannot run backwards. But as more and more examples come to light and modern genetic centers are seen, that principle is having to be rewritten. Not only are evolutionary throwbacks possible, but they sometimes play an important role in the forward march of evolution. Technical term for an evolutionary throwback is atavism, from the Latin word atavis, meaning forefather. The word has ugly connotations thanks largely to Cesare Lombroso, 19th century Italian medic, who argues that criminals were born, not made, could be identified by certain physical features that were throwbacks to primitive and subhuman state. Wow, interesting. Lyle was measuring criminals. Belgian paleontologist called Louis Dollo was studying fossil records, coming to the opposite conclusion. He proposed that evolution was irreversible, that the organism is unable to return even partly to a previous stage already realized in the ranks of ancestors. Early 20th century biologists came to a similar conclusion, so they qualified it in terms of probability, stating that there is no reason why evolution cannot run backwards. It's just very unlikely. So the idea of irreversibility in evolution stuck and came to be known as Dollo's law. Xo'p, demak, o'z ko'rganingizdek, birinchi paragrafda irreversibility haqida yozilgan, ikkinchi qismda term berishgan atavism, men bu odamni haqida gapirishgan, uchinchisida esa boshqa researcherni ma'lumotlari berilgan. Xo'p, if Dollo's law is right, atavism should occur only very rarely, if at all. Yet almost since the idea took root, exceptions have been cropping out. 1999, for example, a humpback whale with a pair of leg-like appendages over a meter long, complete with a full set of limb bones, was caught off Vancouver. Explorer argued that at the time that the whale must be thrown back to a land-living ancestor. I can see no other explanation. O'z ko'rganingizdek, bu qismda whale, ya'ni kitni ikkita oyog'i borligini ko'rishingiz mumkin. Ikkita oyog'i, demak, bunda qanaqa tushuntirishgan, demak, quruqlikka chiqqan, quruqlikdan suvga qaytib ketgan hayvon sifatida ko'rgan bo'lish kerak. Since then, so many other examples have been discovered that no longer make sense to say that evolution is as good as irreversible. This poses to a puzzle. How can characteristics that disappeared millions of years ago suddenly reappear? And colleagues decided to use genetics to put a number on the probability of evolution going into reverse. The reason that while some evolutionary change involves loss of genes, are therefore irreversible, others may be the result of genes being switched off. If these silent genes are somehow switched back on, they argued, long lost trace could reappear. Demak, qismda genetika haqida ma'lumot berilgan ekan. Shu yarim qismini o'qidik, endi savollarni topishga harakat qilamiz. When discussing the theory developed by Louis Dollo, writer says that, demak, Dolloni, it was immediately referred to as Dollo's law. Demak, qismda so the idea in evolution stuck and came to be known. No, immediately haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Supported the possibility of evolutionary throwback. Supported the possibility. Ya, to'g'ri, a possibility bo'lishi mumkin degan, shuning uchun ham bini olamiz. Modified by biologists haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Based on many years of research haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Balki bor. No. Unaqa ma'lumot yo'q. Shuning uchun ham bini belgilaymiz. Agar yo'q bo'lsa, I'm sorry guys, you just find it yourself. O'zlaringiz topib olasizlar. Kerak bo'lsa. Men shunaqa deb o'ylayman. The humpback whale caught off at Vancouver is mentioned because of throwback. Exceptional size of no, not exceptional size. Where it's exemplified Dollo's law. Yep. B bo'ladi. It's the amount of local controversy haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Reason given for unusual features ma'lumot yo'q. Xo'p, shuning uchun B'ni olamiz yana bir marta. What is said about silent genes? Silent genes demak u switch yo'qotilmagan, switch off qilingan va switch on bo'lishi mumkin qaytib orqaga. Xo'p, topamiz uni. The numbers vary haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Rough secret. Wow, silent genes. Where's silent gene here? Yo'q. Disagree with you. No, they could lead to a re-emergence of certain characters. Yes. C bo'larkan javob. They can have an unlimited lifespan. No information about it. Demoqchini o'zi ko'rgansak, re-emergence of certain characteristics. Demak, ma'lum bir xarakteristiklarni qayta paydo bo'lishiga sabab bo'larkan bu silent genes. Writer mentions a mole salamander. Demak, mole salamander haqida ma'lumot o'qimadik. Demak, bu keyingi qismlarda bo'larkan. For a long time biologists rejected. Demak, biologists nimani reject qilishgan? Xo'p. Reluctant to use those words. Bu qismda orqaga qaytish mumkinligini reject qilishgan. Question of how certain long-lasting traits could reappear bo'lishi mumkin. Different species, parallels drawn between behavior and appearance, continued existence of certain genetic information, doubts about evolutionary aspect. Possibility of evolution being irreversible. Those finding as the conclusion. Oh, okay. The possibility of evolution being reversible. Hop, yeah, mana qismda yozilgan. Evolution drawback, controversial, being part of the century, most biologists have been reluctant to use those terms, mindful of principle, evolution can not run backwards. Demak qismda demak ko'p davr mobaynida biologlar o'sha evolyutsiyani orqaga qaytish mumkinligini, reversibleligini reject qilishgan. Shuning uchun ham F javobini olamiz. Demak, rangni ham o'zgartirib olamiz. That's it. Next one. Opposing views on evolutionary drawbacks are represented by what? Opposing views. No. Xo'p, hali o'qimadi shekilli. Lomproso degan odam ko'rganim yo'q. Yo'q, ko'rdim. The technical for evolution for is advised, not advised. The word has connotations largely. Xo'p. No information. Examples of evolution drawback have led to. Hali o'qimadi shekilli bilan. Balki mazmun chiqarib o'qiraman, bilmayman, hozircha topolmadim. Yoki to'pollik qilaman, tushunmayman hozircha. Wagner was the first person to do research South American lizard. Xo'p, Wagnerni ham o'qimadik hali. Birinchi o'qib olamiz, keyin javoblarni topishga harakat qilamiz. Raff's team went on to calculate the likelihood of it happening. Silent genes accumulate random mutations. They are reasoned, are eventually rendering them useless. How long can a gene survive in a species if it's not longer used? The team calculated that there is a good chance of silent genes surviving up to 6 million years. Wow. And that some might survive as long as 10 million years. Are you crazy? In other words, drawbacks are possible, but only to relatively recent evolutionary paths. Relatively recent? Are you crazy? Like 10 million years is relatively recent? Not, I don't think so. As a possible example, as the team pointed to the mole salamander. Salamanderlar bor ekan mana. Like most amphibians, so is begin life in a juvenile tadpole state, then metamorphose into adult form, except for one species, the axe, which famously lives its entire life as a juvenile. The simplest explanation for this is that the axe lineage alone lost the ability to metamorphose, while others retained it. For a detailed analysis of the salamander family tree, however, it's clear that the other lineage evolved from an ancestor that has lost the ability to metamorphose. In other words, metamorphosis is a mole salamander is an atavism. Salamander example fits with Raff's 10 million year time frame. Hop. Javobni topaylik endi. Salamander. Demak, first person haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Wagner. Where's Wagner? No information about the first person. But there is information. Where is Wagner? Wow. I don't know. Where's the guy? Here, Wagner. More recently, however, examples have been reported that break the time limit, suggesting that silent genes may not be the whole story. The paper published last year reports some of the evolutionary history of a group of South American lizards called Bashia. Many of these have minuscule limbs. Some look more like snakes than lizards, and few have completely lost the toes on their hind limbs. Other species, however, spot out to 4 toes on their hind legs. The simplest explanation is that the toed lineage never lost their toes, but the Wagner begs to differ. According to his analysis, the toy species re-evolved toys from the toyless ancestors. What is more, digit loss and gain has occurred on more than one occasion over tens of millions of years. What's going on? One possibility is that these traits are lost and simply reappear, in much the same way that similar structures can independently arise in related species such as dorsal fins of sharks and killer whales. Another more intriguing possibility is that the genetic information needed to make toys somehow survived for tens and perhaps hundreds of millions of years in the lizards and was reactivated. Wow. These atavistic traits provided an advantage and spread through the population, effectively reversing evolution. Wow. But if silent genes degrade within 6 to 10 years, how can long-lasting traits be reactivated for long-term skills? The answer might lie in the womb. Early embryos of many species develop ancestral features. Snake embryos, for example, sprout hind wings. Later in development, these features disappear thanks to the development of problems like loose leg. If for any reason this doesn't happen, the ancestral feature may not disappear, leading to an atavism. First person haqida ma'lumot yo'q, shuning uchun ham no deb olamiz. No deb olamiz. First person degan haqida umuman ma'lumot yo'q. Not given bo'ladi-da, agar ma'lumot bo'lmasa. Are you crazy? Xo'p. Ma'lumot yo'q, menimcha. No information about it. Wagner believes that backyard lizards with toes and toeless backyard lizards with toes had toeless and toeless ancestors. Toed blemish whenever lost their toes. Wagner begs to differ according to species real world toes from toeless ancestors. Mana qismda yozilgan. Shu yes bo'ladi. Yes. Belgilangan qismi uchun yes bo'ladi. Men charchadim, shuning uchun ham men ortiqcha noise qilmayman, make noise qilmayman. Shuning uchun ham ozgina sekingina gapirib ketaveraman. The temporary occurrence of long-lasting traits in embryos is rare. Rare haqida ma'lumot bormi? Womb, where's womb? Here womb, early embryos of many. But there is no information about rare, so that's why it's not given again. Again, two not givens. Like demak, qarang, agar bu javoblarni so'rab bo'lsa, not given, yes, not given, bu no bo'lish kerak bo'lsin-da. No deb texnik olamiz, javobini topishga harakat qilamiz hozir. Nimaga no bo'lar ekan? Evolutionary robotics may be caused by development problems in the womb. Wow, it's yes. Hope in the development of features disappears thanks to development programs. Might be caused by development problems if for any reason this doesn't happen. Ho'p, qiziq. Buni ham yes qilib olarkanmiz, lekin no qani? No. Demak, men bilmayman, birortasi o'sha not given berilganlarning birortasi no bo'lishi mumkin. Bilmayman, balki xato qilgandirman. Doesn't matter. Belgiladim. Xato bo'lsa roz bo'lib orasizlar. Shu bilan esonatgan savollarni tugatamiz. Bu qism hali tugamabdi-ku bu qism. Hope mention salamander because it exemplifies what happens in development of most fish. No. It's just that Raph's theory is correct. Where's salamander? Yeah. Exemplifies fits with Raph's theory. Yep. Suggests Raph's theory is correct. Lost and regained more than one ability. No information about more than one ability had become subject to extensive research. B olamiz. Which of the following does Wagner claim? Members of the public lost and regained certain features several times. Invalidation of the evidence of lizard is due to the event with no information about it. His research into lizard support research. No support formidable. Will apply to other species. Nope, not apply to other species. Demak, A bo'ladi javob. Bilmayman, A bo'lish kerak emas unda o'lgan. Bo'ldi. Mana other species, however, degan javob bor. Demak, bu other species bo'lmaydi, shuning uchun dini chiqarib tashlaymiz. Charchadim. Javoblarni tez belgilab tashlaymiz. Dam olamiz. Bo'ldi. Bu davom etmaydi. Opposing views of all is represented by. Ko'ramiz, whales are mentioned to exemplify the occurrence of particular features in different species. Nima bo'ladi? B bo'ladi. Ko'rsatamiz. Sharks. Yeah. Similar statuses can independently arise in unrelated species here. Shuning uchun oldim. Hop on explanation for the findings research is womb. D bo'lishi mumkin, balki. Bilmadim, shu prosta belgilab tashlayman. Top olasiz so'zlang. Pausing user ownership represented by G bo'lsa bo'la qolsin mayli. G bo'la qolsin bu E plus mana bu yerda bor. Chunki bu 100 milliondan ham deb tashyapti. O'sha uchun ham qachon bunda turar ekan degan ma'lumot savolga sabab bo'lgan. Shu bilan bu qism tugatdi, bu qism ham tugatdik, bu qism ham tugatdik. Agar video yaxshi chiqmadi, sifatli chiqmadi, uzr so'rayman. Agar kommentarda qoldirsanglar, qaytadan olinglar desanglar, qaytadan olishga harakat qilamiz. Shu bilan video o'z nihoyasiga yetadi. Thank you for watching the video guys. Bye.